which is the important part, right?
The mic is the mic's not clipping anymore. I feel like I sound weird. Cam, you ran into what can only be known as a hot mic situation the other week.
What's that?
You know, where the mic was hot, but you didn't know about it.
I did.
Yeah, I remember it was we were having a meeting with some of the corporate investors, and it was sort of like you thought the phone was hung up, and you were saying some things.
They heard that?
You were caught in a hot
What did I
mic.
say?
A hot mic. That's what it's called. I don't think there was anybody there named Mike. It was just a hot mic.
I like hot mic in the office.
Like when Tony Romo and Al Michaels made fun of military flybys, or when I think it was like the Cincinnati Reds announcers told somebody to go back to Homo Town or something like that, or the fag capital of the world. They didn't know the mic was turned on. You missed that?
Yeah, I missed all these.
Cam, as a radio personality, you need to be aware of some of the follies, right? And some of those might be the hot mic.
Continuing
Tonight on Two C's in a Pod, 96.7 on your...
Two C's in a pod, 2 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 C's in a pod, because we're 2 C's in a pod, just like 2 C's in a pod, 2 C's in a pod at gmail.com.
Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again. Welcome to 2 C's in a Pod, everyone, where the mics are always hot. And
Mics
you
are
get
hot.
The most unfiltered content. These mics are hotter than Lola from the movie Sharktale. That's right, everyone. We're diving right into this.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
The part that I also don't like about it is that...
This was fantastic, of course.
No, never seen it. Never seen it.
I love what you're doing. Wow.
I like that... Okay, so I got a few things. Yeah, I don't think we have time to do this. It is the Sharktale critical review where we, two movie critics extraordinaire, are doing the deepest, see the pun, deepest dive into the reef to see the lovable character Oscar learn a lesson about himself. Or, you know what? Let's get right into this here. Okay, is this a buddy cop or is this a coming of age?
First of all, my name's Cameron Osborne. Thanks for the fantastic introduction there, Cam. Getting right to the point this evening.
This is all I've been thinking about. I think you're going to say it's a buddy cop because you're going to think Sebastian, the whale watching dolphin, is the buddy cop to Oscar.
No, this is a buddy cop movie. This is a Lenny Oscar buddy cop movie. But that's right, folks. Normally, we're still here with our scheduled radio time, and we thought, given the success of the previous films and episodes, a la Batman, the first one they ever made, or the Con Air special. That's right, Cam. We thought we would dive right on to because if we're talking animated films from the early to mid 2000s based in the ocean,
this one cracks the top of my
there's only
list.
one place where mine goes, and that's right, and that's Sharktale. So let's how did we get into this? This was like a few weeks ago. You and I came to the conclusion that we both have seen this movie before. Is that all we're going off of?
No, there was something else to it.
Or something
I
else?
think it was
Old
that.
slobs,
I think
listeners,
we
let
were
us
looking
know.
at insect movies, maybe. We were talking about insect movies. and
Oh,
how
we
the
were
ant
saying,
movies
well,
were
I guess the
shit.
next one we have to watch is Ants, I guess, because if you're talking animated films from the early 2000s about insects, it's Ants or Go Home.
I think maybe that's where we came into, and then we said, is there... I don't remember exactly. And I don't think there's any good underwater movies
I can't think of
otherwise,
a single
not animated ones.
I can't think of a single other animated movie that takes place underwater. It's like it's such an
Finding Nemo.
It's such I was trying to get you to not say it. I was trying to get you to not say that as if it was a joke, as if, this one was the only one in my mind. But that's right. Let's just hop right into it because we are talking about the 2004 fantasy epic Sharktale. Cam, when was the last time you saw this movie? This movie impacted you as a kid.
You know what? As soon as I turned it on, it felt like it was yesterday because I knew all the lines to it. I knew all the punchlines. I was grooving along to the beats. It's probably been 5 years. No, that's not true. It's probably been about a year because I watched it like last year just by myself in the morning.
Of course, in one of your probably like half bed or half baths where you watch half a movie in one bath.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Likely scenario.
You were underwater. You wanted to watch a movie about being underwater.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, no, it brought back some just instant quick laughs. I mean, you start off with the introduction where you are immersed into the reef, where Oscar, the fun-loving nobody who wants to be a somebody, lives in this world where there's taxi drivers who have Arabic and Jamaican accents. There's ads for Gup instead of Gap. And, everything you can imagine for just play on words ocean-wise is in front of you. Not sure why there's a traffic jam at one point where the fish are stuck behind a flipped-over whale, why they can't just go up or down. But that's where the argument starts with the cab drivers.
Oh, the cabbies. That's where you're going. See, Cam, I think you need to look even before the introduction to the reef, of course, because, this is a DreamWorks movie, because we're saying fuck Pixar. There, I said it. Fuck Pixar.
Fuck Pixar.
There, I said it, right? So it's a DreamWorks movie. The DreamWorks intro of the kid with the who drops the fishing line into the water. That's like their fucking logo, right? And we get to play it with a worm on there instead, who has to like hold his breath going underwater. This was the first time I ever thought to myself, like, oh yeah, I guess worms don't breathe underwater. It never really occurred to me that they did, but never really occurred to me that they didn't. Either ways, the worm is caught by who we find out to be Lenny, who will end up being one of our protagonists, who kind of lets who's a shark, a great white shark, who lets him off without eating him, which then becomes a theme. And Cam, I don't know if you noticed a bunch throughout this movie, like the Jaws theme kept coming back.
Well, I mean, the shark in Jaws, just the sound, the looming in the distance.
Well, Cam, have you ever thought that, this is a piece of music? Why is Sharktale allowed to use the Jaws theme song and nobody else is?
I'm pretty sure it's used very popularly.
It can be used all the time. Of course, DreamWorks SKG, of course. The S in SKG stand for Steven Spielberg. Bet you didn't know that. So, of course, this is Steven Spielberg's
production.
How
they're connected.
This is Steven Spielberg's production company making another movie. Because there's a bunch of Jaws references that kind of come through this. Certainly, Spielberg talking to himself. The K stands for Jeffrey Katzenberg, who you might know as the director of the movie. But yeah, that's right, Cam.
Question.
We do question. Tell me how you think about this.
Did Steven Spielberg do the Titanic?
No, that was James Cameron.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason I was going to say that is because the shark layer that they're hanging out is supposed to be based on the Titanic on the outside, is what it looks like. Sunken.
Titanic on the outside.
Different ship on the inside.
That's right. Yeah, Cam. So we find ourselves like going around this reef. The best ones that I caught was the reporters named Katie Current, and on the Walk of Fame we got Jessica Shrimpson, Cod Stewart, and then there's a seal who it says seal, and he just jumps on a seal. I thought that was good. We see all those other kind of stores. We see the prawn shop. They're shopping at Kelby Creams Donuts.
Yeah. Isn't it Kelpie Cream?
Kelpie Cream. Sorry.
Yeah,
Kelpie Cream. That makes more sense. And but no one's dining in at the Sushi Bowl restaurant.
Yeah, which definitely caught your eye at first. You're like, sushi? Who's eating sushi?
Tough.
And
that's a tough business to open. The
Japanese sushi man, who is also a fish. They do a very good job of characterizing character. This is a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one for you, Cam. This has like 4 syllables.
Caricaturizing fish to make them look like a specific, like the jellyfish were clearly Jamaican, right? Oscar was clearly black, right? Angelina Jolie, extremely hot.
That makes sense.
Lola.
that makes sense. That plays. But yeah, you're right, Cam. We're making our way through this reef. We meet our protagonist, Oscar. The
Welcome to my crib.
The Will Smith voice of the character, the Will Smith voice. He's our protagonist here. He's a cleaner fish with a pocket full of dreams. How else would you describe him?
Well, he is a man who's very obsessed with material possessions and thinks that without them, he is nothing. And it's a repeating theme throughout the movie. Nobody loves a nobody. I want to be a somebody. And he pretends to be a somebody by standing in front of a billboard of a house going, welcome to my crib, until he gets made fun of by these smaller fish, which are illustrated as kids, and then running into the love of his life, the love of a friend of his who works with him, Angie the fish, who respects him for who he is, but he doesn't respect him for who he is because he wants the fame, the glory, but he's a fun, lovable character who is irresponsible, takes dumb risks, but you know what? Everyone loves him in the end.
Well, I think one thing, the most important part of note here is that we get to see what ends up being a major scene, which is the whale wash, which I guess is like a car wash for whales, but the whales
who
are
have
like
graffiti
people.
on them.
So it's yeah, but it makes sense, the Oscar character is supposed to be a blue streak cleaner race, which is actually a type of fish that gets its nutrients by cleaning whales. Even though it looks more like a dolphin fish, I think that's kind of the way it's meant to kind of play out. And all the other people who work there, all the other blue streak cleaner fish, are also like, that's how they get their nutrients and stuff, right?
But they're never seen eating that the gup that comes off it. He is a tongue scrubber, but he does not eat the scrubbings that come off the tongue.
Yeah, we only see
we
don't see anybody eat food besides the sharks. I don't think there's any other meal besides the sharks eating.
I think they're eating at the dinner table, and I think at one point the octopus is eating.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But before we move on, Oscar does have a great line about his dreams of opening up a bottled water company, which I guess would be the equivalent of just kind of like opening an oxygen bar in the middle of the mall or something.
That's
the underwater equivalent. Then we flash scenes. We go over to like our antagonist, right? The music kicks in where we meet Don Lino.
Do we at this point?
Yeah, I think we can.
We
cut right to this whole movie. Like it's just very.
It cuts over.
It goes right to stuff and never a dull moment.
Right. So De Niro, who is Don Nero, they didn't really come up with much there.
No, Don Lino is the name.
Oh, Don Lino.
Lino.
I thought it was Don Nero.
Yeah.
Don Lino. So Don Lino is the mob boss. He is played by De Niro, who is the father of Frankie and Lenny. And Frankie is the killer shack, and he's ready to take over the family business. Come on, Pops. I can take care of it. And Lenny is the sweetheart who's a vegetarian shark and maybe just isn't ready to control the reef. And, what's the octopus's name again?
Oh fuck! I don't think I really caught it. I had a weird version of this movie where it wasn't quite nice quality. I had like a half one. Luca, that's his name.
Luca. Yeah, Luca's a great character in the movie, in my opinion.
The right hand
really brings
man.
a lot of just like
state
right,
the
boss,
obvious.
right, boss. A lot of that. Just the comical relief in these tense moments of just deliberations between the mob.
Yeah, I think they call him a sit down.
The sit downs, yeah.
A sit down.
And at one
is
point,
the official term.
The sit down. And at one point, this is what's going around town. People are talking, and they're talking because Lenny isn't carrying his weight around the ocean floor, the reef.
The reef.
He doesn't have this. Yeah. Now, then we learn about the business relationships between Sykes, the manager at the whale wash.
Right. He's like a blowfish. He's pufferfish rather, voiced by Martin Scorsese. There's a great moment here where Oscar. So I guess we meet Sykes, who's there with the two jellyfish, with Ernie and Bernie. They're kind of like his enforcers who end up being like, funny little characters in the end. And Oscar comes rolling in, singing the song "Don't Worry" by Bob Marley. Or like every little thing's gonna be all right or whatever. And he says a lyric wrong, right in front of Ernie, who says like that's not the lyric. That's not the lyric.
That's not the lyric, man.
Which I always thought was a very funny line because, of course, Ernie is portrayed by Ziggy Marley. So it would be funny.
His son?
Yes, that is correct.
Son. Yes.
So he was always correcting him on his dad's lines or whatever, right? But Sykes brings in Oscar to his office to enforce the hell out of him because he owes him 5,000 clams.
Right. And the reason he's getting squeezed is because Sykes is getting squeezed by Don Lino, the father, again, of Frankie and Lenny. So he comes in and he says, basically, I have been giving you money for all these stupid business ventures. It's time to pay up, big fella, or else. And that or else isn't entirely clear. It kind of seems like, what? There's a scene later on where he gets tied up a little bit, and are they going to kill him? Right? That's left a little bit to the imagination of the viewer as to what the consequences are for not.
If you want to believe that he would kill him, I'd say go for it. Right?
And if you don't, that's okay too.
And if you don't, that's up to you. That's up to you too, right? But he has 24 hours to pay him back these 5,000 clams, which is fantastic.
Seems like just
I wonder what the
realistic time frame though. It's like I don't
realistic.
have any money. It's like how's 24 hours sound? You're like unreasonable.
Well, you
like,
got to give him an amount
change.
of time that they can get the money, but can't quite skip town. I'll give you 72 hours. In that amount of time, they could be on another reef.
Yeah, I guess.
I've never been in
a pinch.
Have you never squeezed somebody like that?
No. I'm normally
You've never
the one
threatened somebody. You've never threatened somebody for money. Like, hey, give me my money. I'll kill you. I'll kill your family.
The latest thing I've done for squeezing people is anytime anyone borrows my tools, I say I have a strict 1 week rule on this.
Yeah.
Where if I don't have it back within 7 days, you'll never borrow a tool from me again.
And
if you do bring it back within 7 days, people always get it back to me within 7 days.
Always.
But I think it's established that it's like, happy to lend out my tools, but here's the preconceived notion. If you don't do this, it's basically like, you've degraded my trust. I can't trust you, and you'll never get a tool again. If you don't, that's cool. Yeah.
It's very simple. There's nothing wrong with letting somebody borrow something. There's also nothing wrong with me putting a timeline on how long I want you to have that thing. Can you borrow my drill? Yeah, but you get it for a few days.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say 7 days, no more. The less, sure, but and I think people just go like, okay, that's cool.
Well, Cam, I guess the question would be, could you ring up $5,000 in 24 hours?
Could I personally?
Could you
Yes.
personally? Exactly.
Yeah,
see, you would have had you would have had no problem. I don't think you and I can kind of understand the problems that Oscar's dealing with.
But I also don't. I don't take money from my boss either. I'm not in that position.
Also, wait,
like,
wait,
come
never
on, I got
quite
an idea.
explained what we were doing with, and also $5,000 isn't like a lot of money. Like it's not. If it was $25,000, that's kind of like okay, shit, that is a lot of money. But
Yeah,
like, what can
now.
you do?
Yeah.
What can you do with $5,000 that you couldn't do without $5,000?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think
Is it just sort of like he's
it's an arbitrary number almost.
He's just kind of this like he's just like a kid, like a young guy, spends his money on like gold chains and hip hop shoes and Kangol hats. Is that what we're to believe?
Sykes
Oscar.
or Oscar. Yeah, I think Oscar's just living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, he's working at the whale wash, so let's not assume that.
It's his dream. Anyways, yeah. Well,
the typical American has like less than $400 in their bank account at any time.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And if Sharktale is anything, it is pretty much a story about middle America.
That's right. Let's never forget that, folks. Anyway, moving ahead. So Oscar needs $5,000 in 24 hours and goes to his best friend.
No, wait,
Angie.
5,000 clams. It's a big difference because
clams.
that's what I would wonder if we would call clams like the colloquial for dollars. I wonder what they would call the colloquial for clams. Do you think they call them like dollars or bucks? Think about that.
Didn't think about that. Anyway, so Oscar needs to get some cash quick. He wants to live at the top of the reef, which I found he's always saying, he's like, I want to live at the top of the reef, right? Which I found to be an interesting statement. It's like, it's kind of, I just thought rationally, like, that's kind of a weird thing to live at the top of the reef versus the bottom of the reef. But I guess bottom of the reef, you're a bottom feeder.
You could literally be a bottom feeder. Top of the reef, you get more sunlight.
That's a good point.
Right? You're closer to the water surface, and you are literally climbing the Success Mountain. Makes a lot of sense, though, right? But he wants to live at the top of the reef because, of course, this is where we find out Oscar says that he's a little fish in a big pond, which I would have to assume would have an entirely different meaning down there. Because that means that the sea fish have spoken to the land fish and have communicated like, hey, there is water on land, and we've devised it into a couple different groups. Some are rivers, some are lakes, some are ponds. Which I thought there's a whole Sharktale that's just about like shit at the bottom of a lake. Not sharks or anything, but like it's Sharktale but with walleye and largemouth bass.
It is interesting to think that a fish would have no idea how big the actual ocean is.
Or maybe they do.
They know the reef.
Maybe they do. Maybe they've figured it out by now. Like they had a little Marco Polo of their own who kind of, they had their own Christopher Columbus. Happy Thanksgiving to our American listeners, who went out and destroyed the lives of millions of other little fish, like other little Native American fish, indigenous fish.
That's right. He said it.
Little Christopher Columbus fish. And then they came over on a little Mayflower.
Love the idea. I never thought about that.
Love the idea. Sharktale 2, we're writing it right now. Oscar has these dreams of making it to the top of the reef, but that is only because he's wanted to be a tongue scrubber his entire life because his father was, and he looked up to his father so much, and this is kind of where we never meet the father or the mother for that case, but you can assume both have maybe passed on.
I think you can also assume that their father would have 20,000 sons.
Oh my God! When fish, yeah, they have so many things when they do it, right?
Yeah, they make 1,000 eggs and they're like, let's see what survives.
Yeah,
it's not a game of quality.
Yeah, fish sex is purely quantity over quality. That's for sure. Oscar is a little fish in a big pond, but he thinks he can move on. I think next up is Don Lino. I like the back and forth good guys, bad guys thing. Lino's having a meeting with his kids at dinner about kind of like taking over the family business, where in this restaurant filled with other sharks, so like sharks are the elite of the world. That's what's going on here, right? Everybody else eats plankton and scum, and these guys, these guys get to eat shrimp.
Shrimp, that's right. Which, as we'll learn, will come back to bite you in the end.
Yeah, the little shrimp. Lenny won't eat the shrimp, and he kind of like lets them go, and a bunch of them kind of escape, and they're our little friends. We'll come back later.
That's correct. So I think we're kind of jumping on a play speak here because I think that meeting happened before he realized he needed the 5,000 clams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Sykes wouldn't have known. Sykes wouldn't have been squeezing Oscar if he didn't get squeezed from Don Lino.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Right. So now Oscar needs to come up with this 5,000 clams in 24 hours and goes to his old friend Ange, who gives him a nice pink pearl to that should raise 5,000 clams.
That I guess is the equivalent of 5,000 clam. What a fish would need with a pearl, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's sort of like...
You have to figure that out.
That's sort of like... Oh, my God. That's sort of like... You... Like, you're... Like, as a gift, somebody gives you a very nice-looking piece of dog shit. And then you're kinda like, this is like another animal's byproduct.
I didn't really think about that. I just looked at shiny. And you'll notice one more thing that doesn't make sense in a minute. And we'll get to that. So Anyway, he goes to the. He's gonna meet Sykes at the racetrack to give him his money, but there's a lucky bid for Lucky Day to win the race, and he'll, I don't know, 20 times his profit or something like that, some ridiculous number. So he bets it all, Jerry. And as to be expected, the horse does terribly.
Oh, there's so much in the middle, because right after he says, I'm going to be a millionaire, the words millionaire pop up through, and we meet Lola, the hot fish. And as soon as we see Lola, we hear us
super fast. Better watch out, she'll take your cash. She's a gold digger. She's a gold digger. She's a hoe.
So if anything could tell you about the type of woman that this is, it's the song. The lyrics of the song let you know. But so he goes up to see Sykes, and Lucky Day starts having a tough time. He can't get out of the gate. Eventually he does get out of the gate. He storms around, takes first, and then he kicks himself in the head. And
I got a good laugh out of that one.
And Sykes, I think it's Sykes or Oscar, has the quote where they say, "Who trips underwater and on what?"
What a line. Yeah, I thought this movie had so many clever, quick-witted lines. So he somehow manages to get to the front of the pack, trips over, and then the cash is boom, gone. And Sykes is not happy about it. Bringing us to the scene where we don't know if they're going to kill him or not.
Well, yeah, so now now the jellyfish, Bernie and Ernie, they're doing over our buddy Oscar, who's tied to a cinder block going straight onto the ground, to the floor, which for a human being would be certain death. But for a fish, I guess it's sort of like you're tied up.
Yeah, it didn't seem like much. It seemed like what they were really waiting for was a shark. But the illusion,
you see it and you're like, yeah, that means and they do make another swimming with the fishes joke later. But yeah, that's exactly how the mob would kill somebody, is by tying a fucking cinder block to them and then swim with the fishes, and they don't. But while Oscar's being done over, Lenny and what's the other one's name? Frankie. They're kind of on like a training mission of sorts to try to get Lenny to eat a fish. Where of course they run into Oscar, who's being strung up, and he's just like perfect dinner. Prey. And so Lenny goes for Oscar and puts him in his mouth, and then. Or he ruffles up the sand around him, and he's like, "Dude, fucking run away! I'm not gonna eat you." And Oscar doesn't really get the clue, because then when the sand sort of stops,
I would like to point out exactly what he says, which I thought was funny.
Oh, what does he say? Perfect.
Tastes like chicken.
Oh, yes,
and I thought that was a line where I'm like, why would a shark ever say it tastes like chicken?
Yeah, because a shark is going up, to coastal cities. Maybe they've had a seagull before, and they've heard from a peer that who has had chicken that seagull also tastes like chicken, and then I think it's plausible. Sharks are eating chickens.
Maybe, but he seemed to have a pretty good knowledge of it. And then the Oscar pops up, and Frankie's had enough of it, so he goes chasing after him, and goes through a series of little cuts and just good chasing until an anchor falls on Frankie, and boom, it looks like there's a new shark slayer in town. Right
on him, fucking this massive anchor just falls right on him, and then nothing. First of all, how deep? I guess it's not that deep that these people are, because that looks like an average size kind of anchor, which you think would be for an average size boat. How big of a boat would be going in those waters? I don't know. And also nothing else human ever comes back up besides this one anchor, but it takes out Frankie, and guess what? Frankie's kaputs.
Kaputski finito. He's dead. And is it Bert and Ernie that come back? Be like, Oscar,
Bernie and Ernie. It's not Bert and Bernie and Ernie. Bert and Ernie, baby.
Bert and Ernie is the people from that
Sesame Street. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, a little mix up. So they pop up. They see the dead shark. They see Oscar, who's already inflating the story to be big old shark, 19,000 feet long, and pumping up his numbers, talking about how he's already has a crowd out in front of him, and he says, "Oh, what's the line? I love the line." He says where he goes to his biceps, and he goes, "Oh, you want some of this? Well, he's got a brother, and he lives over here, and it's time for a family reunion." I love that line. Gotta pull that one off more often.
You should. There's a couple lines that, you should bring that one up, especially when you're going to get into a fight. Cam, you get in a lot of fights these days. Before Muay Thai practice, you should say that. Like, I don't know if you and your opponent, like, bow in or, like, hand tap or something. You should taunt.
I like that idea. Instead
See how
of the
that would
traditional
work.
bow.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out the line for the good bicep curl and work off that.
That's all it is,
So,
right?
Then he's getting sponsorships from Gup. Next thing you know, sponsorships from Coral Cola. There's a bunch of other fun ones. I think.
Don't forget his
by.
front page paper on Newsreef magazine. Or
What's that in reference to?
Say Newsweek.
Oh, okay. So Coral Cola, Gup, Fish King, which is Burger King, Old Wavy, and Newsreef are some of the ones that popped up there.
Newsreef, and they're all telling us the same thing, right? The Shark Slayer. The Shark Slayer is here. The Shark Slayer is here to save us. And the Shark Slayer was supposed to actually be the original title of the movie, but before they started like promoting it, they changed it out to Sharktale because that would be more conducive to children. Shark Slayer maybe a little too scary.
Definitely. So, next up, you got Crazy Joe, one of the best characters in the show or in the movie, who is a hermit crab who says that he is his financial advisor. Sykes, who comes back in and says he's going to be his manager. They decide to split 50-50 for all the profits they're going to be making off of what I am unsure.
Well, I think like advertisements. We see Preparation O, which is like a Preparation H type product, but for Oscar instead.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, let's hope that lasts because now somehow he's in the top of the reef. The rent at the top of the reef has opened up. He's hosting parties, giant lava lamps.
He's got lava lamps the size of the room.
Yeah.
And Cam, I like me a lava lamp, but I gotta say that's a little too big.
I beg to differ. So
you beg to differ. You would have a whole room in your house dedicated to one single lava lamp.
Why not?
That's a good point. You got me there.
So, plowing ahead, he's the star of the town, but we shift back to the shark den, the Titanic, the SS Titanic, where the funeral is going on for Frankie, where they throw him off the ship, which I found pretty funny, wrapped up, as if he's going to go somewhere, right?
Or it's almost like a Viking funeral, but for a shark. This is where we also meet another character named Don Ira Feinberg.
Is that the one who sings the song? He's like, I could fly high.
Yeah, he has the real smoke. Yeah. He has the real smoky voice.
Oh, a great character.
So he's the one who informs Lino that there's some kid in the reef claiming to be to be Frankie's killer.
Oh, come on. You got to give a little more justice than that to the scene. He goes, we're on the street. I know the guy who took out Frankie. They call him the Shark Slayer.
That's pretty good. That's a good Feinberg. That's a good Feinberg. Feinberg, though, we are an odd name for a mafia don. One could say, because his old name, or his previous name, was actually changed because it was just too goddamn Italian. That's right. The character was actually named Don Ira Breezy. But there was pressure by, and this is a real thing, the Italian Institute of America, which is an organization which protests Hollywood's stereotyping of Italians as mobsters and gangsters. This a particular organization came down hard on Sharktale because pretty much every single Italian thing is kind of present in the way when it comes to just all of the gangster characters. Lenny does not possess a lot of those like, hey, tough guy, Italian shit, but pretty much everyone does. So if you are Italian or something, or this might not be the film for you. That's all I
I'd
got
also like to point out they did make a bunch of changes to appease the Anti-Italian Defamation League, and even after they made all the changes to appeal them, still disowned the movie. So if you're a big Anti-Italian Defamation League guy, just know that you can't legally own the movie.
Actually, that's actually a little more interesting because that means that they made a bunch of changes to satisfy the Italians. My question is, how Italian stereotypy was this movie before they made all these changes?
Oh, I hope they tripled down. Like,
everything was just like, hey, where's my pasta pazzoul? Hey, I'm walking over here. Oh, it was gabagool. It was guys in wife beaters and gold watches.
Breaking pool and shit like that.
Playing pool. It was waste management. I'm sure there were a lot of more Italian stereotypes that would have been fantastic.
Carpentry going on.
And although on the one side of the room, we do have this mourning of Frankie. However, at the top of the reef, we're having a big old party to celebrate because sort of Oscar is living the life. He's having like this big housewarming party, I guess. He lives in the penthouse.
Maybe another question here that I just thought about. How the hell did the Anti-Italian Defamation League get a hold of the movie before it was released?
I think that happens, like screeners and things like that, or like the FCC, they give, maybe it was more of like a script thing. Like they had to approve the script first. Or like, as the script kind of became made aware of, things like that. I'm not entirely sure, but there's always organizations trying to shit on our fun.
Fair enough. Okay, plowing ahead because we're not even halfway through the movie. Actually,
we're
we might be
approximately halfly through. Okay. So like I was saying, Oscar's having this huge ass party. Everything looks great. All of his one thing I like was that we've only seen him interact with people at work and then people who are trying to kill him and then Angie. And so whenever there's like a party or situation like this, I never know. And this is this happens all the time in movies. I never know who their other friends are.
Yeah, there's hundreds
nobody
of fish
else
here.
at the party is talking to them either. The main characters are the ones who interact. So my question is, it's like this person's house, and this happens all the time and shit. And I always ask myself, like, who the fuck are these people? Because who the fuck are these people? Where Oscar's has no friends and one woman at work that's in love with him. It's just so weird. Anyways, Angie comes by.
I guess this would be the equivalent of when the SEAL team killed Osama bin Laden. Did we're
going right there.
Go back home, and he was just surrounded by those people at his house, and he's like, I don't know who these people are, but I guess they're all here because I'm the Shark Slayer.
Yeah,
Robert O'Neill was the man who killed him, by the way.
Be tuned to subscribe to Spotify so you can get the exclusive Rogan content that you're looking for come December 1st. You want to talk a little bit? You want to talk a little bit about that creatine vodka you've been working on there, Cam? That's 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per shot of vodka. How's that been working out?
Not good. Testing's gone poor. My guts are inside out. I haven't shot a solid log for weeks now, and I have stopped taking it months ago.
But Cam, the pump. Unreal.
The pump,
unbelievable. Stay tuned. We have more info on our creatine-based vodka. But yeah, Angie's here. Angie's here at the party, and she's got the shitty little old lava lamp. Oh, you should have known, girl. And they do actually go onto the balcony. It is a nice view of whatever the fuck they're looking at. I'm not quite sure what they're supposed to be looking at, but it's like the rest of the reef, Angie, though, she's thinking, not only will this guy ask me out, no. She's thinking, this guy's gonna propose to me right now. Right now. Right now. She's like, we're going to go from not dating to engaged immediately.
That's the plan.
I love that, but it wasn't the plan, of course, because who else shows up but Lola? Here to interrupt everyone's fun time. But before anything, any sort of drama can erupt in this love triangle, a shark shows up on the edge of the reef. And as soon as we get news of that means Oscar's got
Everyone points to the shark slayer.
Who else are you going to point to, right? It's like you seeing a ghost. You see something strange in the neighborhood. Like, who else are you going to call? Right? It's just sort of it's sort of part of his
Robert O'Neill, Navy SEAL.
Paul. Yeah, when there's something strange in the neighborhood, call Robert O'Neill, Navy SEAL. Now, we're gonna pick back up on this Osama bin Laden thing maybe on a future episode. But we do. Oscar has to go to the edge of town to fight Lenny. Oh, sorry. Well, I guess he ends up running into Lenny.
Right. He runs into Lenny, and they kind of figure out. Excuse me. They figure out their. How can you put this? Their scam they're gonna run. So they figure out, if you stay hidden from your family and I pretend to be the shark slayer, we both end up on top here. So let's have a good old roughhousing. You look like you scoop me up, you chase me through the coral reef. Then I throw you around a little bit, give you the old gabagool, and next thing you know, you're fucking meatball salad.
That line was cut, the gabagool line, of course.
Yes. And everything goes as planned. He tears him up. I think he does. Does he do any good wrestling moves? Is there any ode to any wrestling moves in this one?
Not really. Just some good old ground and pound. There is one bit where he throws Lenny through a billboard, and by doing so creates the Jaws logo on a Jaws billboard over there. Yeah, that was a fun little play. But yeah, they fuck around, and he ends up throwing him down a thing like he's fucking like it's Gandalf.
The ode to Jaws again, referencing again Steven Spielberg-esque. I don't remember what you said about that, how the production worked, but they connect it all together. So
we're doing it, baby.
We're doing it. Anyway, the shark slayer is real. The whole town has seen it. There's no question. Anyone who thought it might be a scam has now seen Oscar, who doesn't surprisingly get any more famous after that. Even though everyone has seen him, they're kind of just giving the pat on the back, like, "Way to go, Chief!"
Which is almost like if you were like, "Hey, have you heard of this guy named Jesus? He walked on water," and then you're like, "Are you fucking serious?
Are you serious?
Oh my God, I can't believe that. Nothing in my life will ever be the same." And then 3 months down the road, he's like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Jesus." He walks across the water, and you're like, "Yeah, I knew you could do that."
We're well aware that you
I feel
can.
like I'd be more
Do you have any
amazed.
other tricks?
I love just this the stupidness, the gullibility of people. Gullibility, is that a word? If not, it should be.
Yeah.
Let's get the folks at the Merriam-Webster show to deal with that gullibility. I would love to know if it's a word.
Gillability. Oh, there was something about gills that they mentioned where they're like, I don't remember. I think I'll come up with it in a minute. But there's something about gills where they have a little play on gills. Anyway, so the town is saved. Oscar is the hero. But now the sharks mean a business. They're done fucking around.
And Lenny, of course, he's disgraced. He can't go back. So we got to sneak Lenny into a little garage, right, where you can just kind of hide away and hide out, where Lenny sits Oscar down. He's like, there's something I can't tell you. And Oscar says, you can tell me, you're safe here. And Lenny takes all of the pride that he has for himself. This is the most. Sometimes some people would say this is the most difficult decision or the most difficult thing that a shark has to do in their young lives, if it's something that they do
Pretend
have to go
to be
through.
a dolphin.
And he says, "Oscar, I am a vegetarian."
Mic drop.
It's exactly Oscar's
now,
reaction. Of
obviously,
course. Now,
this is great news for a small fish.
Now having to hide, when he's hiding his laughter, which I guess the way they frame being a vegetarian, and this will come up later on, they almost frame it as if it's like coming out as gay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I kinda did feel like that.
These fish, and this will come out later at the end when him and Lino are talking. It almost felt like it was a moment he's coming out to his best friend, and this wasn't just noticed by me, although it really fucking felt like it, especially if you watch it again. Actually, the American Family Association, they're a Christian conservative organization.
Boy.
They raised concerns about the film after release because they believed it was designed to promote the acceptance of gay rights by children.
Wow.
By seeing a shark who's not like the other sharks, and being comfortable with not being like the other sharks, you can certainly see where, I don't want to say they had a point, but because what their point is wrong, but it does actually feel like that. It is the story about being comfortable with who you are and not needing your parents' approval necessarily.
Wow, what an interesting stance they took, and what I feel like they really stretched that one out. Where they're like, we think what you were implying by the shark, who went as a dolphin, decided not to eat meat, was pretending to come out as gay, and we don't support you pretending to come out as gay and turning into a dolphin because the dolphin could represent. And you're like, I think you're looking too deep into the Sharktale.
Or was the message not deep enough, Cam? Because because back at Oscar's apartment, Sykes is psyched, and he's actually on the phone with Lino, going over, just kind of like gloating to him.
Right, saying that basically, I don't remember the line he uses specifically, but it's something around like, he doesn't say F you, but he says, what's the word he says again? It's like, screw you.
Hey, screw yourself. He does say he's untouchable, which isn't a Robert De Niro movie, I don't think. But it is a mob movie, so I don't know. Maybe there's a little tie there in the line. But Lino is just like, okay, give me Oscar on the phone. Sykes is like, fucking, there you go, right? And he tells him, yo, I'm gonna kill you.
Straight up,
I'm
and he says,
going to kill
you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. So they're going to have a sit down, as they call it. We'll sit down.
A sit down. The old mob sit down, of course. And just as all of this is kind of coming to its mount, of course, sexy Lola waiting down there in the back, because she was waiting for him, because he said, hey, wait for me. And this just kind of got my mind going, Cam. How do fish have sex? I'm not smart enough to know this, know these sort of things.
I believe what they do is they like Lola would put her eggs on the ground, and then basically Oscar would bukkake them.
Oh, no way.
Then,
okay, yeah, because this whole time I've been trying to wonder how a fish could fuck. And for some reason in my mind it was like two sunfish. Like I pictured kind of like the weirdest look, kind of like fat, awkward things. Not good and the only way I could kind of make it like they 69 to completion. But I guess that's not the case. Maybe you can just kind of lay the eggs on the ground, and then you come on the eggs. Okay, that actually so. Is that what Lola and Oscar were about to do? Like, how do fish have sex for pleasure?
Well, because
would
Lola
they 69 until completion?
Now hates. I don't really know her intentions. I think she would just have for the money. I don't think she cared so much about.
She is a dangerous, super bad. Better watch out. She'll take your cash. She's a gold digger. Gold digger.
But now she's, somehow she ends up working with the Sharkos. Because surprise.
We find that out.
Oh, we
find that out way later. No, but yeah, we move back to the garage where Oscar comes back to see Lenny, where he finds out that Angie has already found Lenny. And kind of figures out the whole plot that, he's not actually the shark slayer. He's been lying this whole time. And but they need to work out a plan because Oscar's gonna be dead if they don't have a plan.
Yeah, I feel like I skipped over something here. Okay, you're right. Okay, now let's piece it together. Right, so they're in the where are they again? It's in like a janitor's closet.
No, it's just like a garage.
Okay,
It's like a garage.
So they're in the garage. They're planning it out. I love Sebastian, the whale watching dolphin, first of all. Great outfit. I don't know where you got the blue paint from, but done well. Angie gets in a fight with, Angie gets in a fight with Oscar. Mm-hmm. She leaves, and then you're kind of left with this sad puppy dog, Sebastian, the whale watching dolphin, who has to witness it all. And that's where you really see how sweet of a girl this Angie girl is, because she takes him in even though he's not accepted, and Oscar's all over the place and he's angry and he wants to be a somebody and nobody likes a nobody, and she goes, I do.
Which, by the way, setting your bar super low. Like, I like somebodies. I mean, I don't not like nobodies, but if I had to choose between a somebody and a not nobody, come on, Angie, you deserve better than this, girl.
Yeah. So Angie, she ends up. I think the last time she talks to Oscar before the next scene, they're not in the best of spirits. Next thing you know, the mob works in specific ways, and Gabagool. Next thing you know, you're in the back of the truck.
Gabagool. You're back in the truck, but of course Oscar doesn't know about any of this, right? He's just like rolling around the reef, checking out his own, coral cola billboards and stuff. Like, who is he? He's a fraud. That's all he is. Angie's the only person who ever cared for him, who he is. He dumps Lola at his cool,
gets rid of that hope.
At like his never-ending house party. He's like that level of famous, or he's like that kind of famous. Like
maybe
people who,
maybe it's not actually his house. That's also a thought.
Maybe it's just a rental unit.
Well, maybe it's just like a party that he's at.
Yeah, we never we never see him like sleep or make food.
No.
It's just an ongoing party that he's
but
always
also,
been a part
like,
of.
Sleeping scenes aren't that interesting.
Yeah, I kind of want to imagine like I'm sure Logan Paul owns a property that's just always a party. Like somewhere in the world, I don't know where. Like it's just kind of like there's always music, there's always drinks. It just never stops. It's a Logan Paul party. Let's call it that.
The Paul party. So the Paul party, he breaks up with her. Now, what's the occasion that gets him to go to the mob boss? Does he get a phone call?
So we're back at the car wash, right? Where
the car wash.
Oscar has said to himself, you know what? He buys nice flowers, nice set of chocolates, and he's like, you know what?
Oh, because he's in love. He's in love at this point.
Feel about her because he's in love after it's probably like 6.5 minutes of movie goes by, where Lenny. Yeah, by the way, we see Lenny doing a fantastic job as a dolphin. Putting makeup on. Yeah, possibly yet again another kind of like whatever for means whatever. But then we find out that Angie's not there. She hasn't shown up for work, and the phones are going off the hook. Sykes is trying his best, but eventually there's a call for Oscar where Don Lino tells him that, you know what, I've stolen Angie, and if you don't come to the sit down, she'll be sleeping with the fishes, the dead ones.
There it is. Oh yeah, because they have to say the dead ones.
Because they're all fishes, but I guess there are some dead fishes. Which, do you think you bury? Do you think they bury the dead fish?
Well, no. As we see with Frankie, they give him the Viking funeral. They throw him off the SS Titanic.
No, there's no way that could be the Titanic, though. Because there's a reef.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Titanic.
Yeah, but there's a reef. Don't reefs exist in like tropical climates? Not fucking like off the coast of Newfoundland.
Oh, we're gonna go ahead and pick out the things that don't make sense in this movie.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, plowing ahead. We're not gonna dig into where the Titanic.
I don't care where it is. I'm just saying I don't think it can be the Titanic. I would say, is there like a famous boat that's gone down?
A slinky dragonfish would never, and I say never, meet up with the blue ocean swinger.
Well, I'm just saying, is there a boat that's gone down like off the coast of Florida? What about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Where's that place? That's a boat. I've heard that song before. That's a boat.
And he fell off the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it goes exactly like that. I'm sure.
Yeah. The sharks were in the
so we have to go to the sit down. because we do need to get Angie back, right? Where at the meeting we see like all the other shark families. There's like a hammerhead shark and sort of like other. There's like a there's like a killer whale looking thing, which I think might just be a killer whale. And they're all terrified of Oscar. Oscar comes in with his
shaken,
huge
Pausing.
dick energy. The definition of BDE is Oscar from Sharktale at all times.
And they show him Angie. They kind of give him the runaround. They're like, listen, we'll take care of this. Gabagool, we'll get some spaghetti, have a little sausage.
Gabagool, we'll go to the Olive Garden.
Go to the Olive Garden.
And get breadsticks.
And he slaps his big old dong on the table and goes, "You got nothing." And he says, "Lenny, scoop him up." And Lenny swims over, snatches up Angie, puts it in his mouth, and it's kind of like, "I got this hoe," right? And then I love this scene because he just puts his big dick energy all over the room.
Oh,
goes
it's
up
so
to each
big.
one of the
It's
sharks.
so
Oh my
it's so
God.
big for you. It's so hard for you.
And what's the one line he uses? Like, and you don't say you understand unless I say you can understand. Understand? And the one shark just passes out.
Yeah. He's so afraid of this. What do we call him? A blue cleaner? That's a cleaner fish.
Blue cleaner fish, yeah.
Blue streak cleaner. That's what
Blue streak cleaner. And
sounds like a Ted Nugent song. Blue streak cleaner.
Blue streak cleaner.
Blue streak cleaner. Anyways,
they're so terrified that he's just whipping this energy around the room until Lenny can't hold his gut any longer and just like I did that one time in college. Oh,
just like that one time in college, he spits Angie right back out along with this like there's one that's like a flotation device. What are those called? Like the rings or whatever that you see at the beach or whatever like that. And then there's like one with like a piece of wood. He also throws out a license plate. Okay, I don't know if you noticed that he threw out I don't know if you noticed that he threw out a license plate. Of course, it's from Sportsman Paradise in Louisiana, dated 1973, with the plate reading 0007981. What do you think it is, Cam? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? If you've seen the 1975 Steven Spielberg classic Jaws, you will recall a scene where they approach a kid that has been spat back up, or at least half the kid, and other contents from the shark's body includes a license plate from Sportsman Paradise in Louisiana, dated 1973, which reads 007-981.
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Now the sham is gone. Lenny starts going, "Oh, the horror!" Which then Don Lino realizes, "Lenny, hey Pop," and he goes, "That's it. That's how we do it. Hey Pop," and shenanigans breaks out. The fraud is gone. The shark slayer is not real. Lenny's not dead. Who knows what actually happened? It's all a sham. And he says, "Oh, I'm gonna get you." And the chase begins. Lenny, I think all the fish are safe except for Oscar at this point, who has to now make a mad break to pretty much solve this problem somehow. As only one shark, only Don Lino goes after him, which is very uncharacteristic in the Italian community for only one shark too. It should be all the sharks.
I've seen enough mob movies to know that a hit is never a one-on-one thing.
No. And especially don't send out the Don to do it. You go, get them, and then you send out your goons.
There's so many goons. All those hammerhead sharks. The one that had the spoon in between its eyes, and then you couldn't see what he put on his face. Like, what about that one?
Classic scene. He goes chasing after him. They go through a bunch of dips, dives. And is also going to get away. Well, you look at the time of the movie. It's about 85 minutes. You're pretty sure it's about the end of it. So
You're thinking to yourself, it can't be much longer.
It can't be much longer. This is obviously the climax where Oscar maneuvers him into the car wash.
The whale wash. There's no cars. There's no cars in the ocean, Cam. There's only whales, and they're like cars.
Goes in the whale wash and scoops up what he thinks is Don Lino and ends up being Frankie. Oops. Lenny.
If it was Frankie, Frankie's dead. That would be a corpse.
Oh boy, that
would be horrifying. There would be like, because its skin and bones would not be like, there'd be deteriorating already, right? Parts of the flesh would be ripping off. It would be quite a scene. Putrid also. The smell of a dead shark.
Don't know if you can smell underwater.
Can fish
I guess
smell?
Sharks can.
Can we get that one? Can we get that
smell
one?
A mile away.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taste blood a mile away or smell it. I don't know. Sense it. But, he does a little more gabagooling, puts a little pastrami cheese at the end of the whale wash.
Oh, there's some Rigoletta. They're singing Andrea Bocelli.
And a little rigatoni pops into the picture.
Rigatoni, Tony. They're going back to the Olive Garden.
The Olive Garden says, "Sir, you didn't finish your all-you-can-eat salad." He says, "I guess I'll have one more."
Next I'll have one more because when you're here,
trapped.
You're family. And then the rest of the movie, and then there's like 13 minutes of a movie where it's just kind of like an Olive Garden commercial. And then we cut back to Oscar and Lenny. They're both trapped, and this is where they both realize that they need to put their differences aside. So what if your son's gay? I mean vegetarian. You can still love your son, even though he's gay. Vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Just because it doesn't matter what a person eats or who a person sucks.
Vegetarian.
What they eat.
Right.
All that matters is that they're your family. Who they love, and what if they love big cocks. Vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
God.
And like that,
I think I got out of that one pretty smooth, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Anyway, Oscar then confronts Don Lino, who I think they have some explanation. It's like, it wasn't me who killed him. It was an anchor that came down.
Yeah, he does. So this is the big moment where, of course, Oscar's being praised for now capturing 2 sharks, adding to a total. So they thought it was 4. I guess they thought it was 4 total now, which I guess he should have taken credit for these 2 sharks, or at least Don Lino. But yeah, and then of course when Katie Current on the news is interviewing him, that's where he kind of comes out and he says, "No, I'm a fraud. I forsake all the wealth." He didn't actually say that. I made that one up. But he does forsake all the wealth that he acquired.
And then he loses his Livestrong sponsorship.
Yeah, his Livestrong sponsorship was right out the door. The Nike PGA Tour golf game that they had about him, they stopped making that. Netflix canceled a bunch of his upcoming specials. He actually, we had to cancel him from the Two Season Pod corporate retreat. He was our first choice over D'Elia. He was our first choice.
You can't find him on Twitter. Look up Oscar on Oscar the bluefin fish on Twitter. You can't find him. He got banned.
You can't find him. Banned. Twitch
Canceled.
won't even let him. OnlyFans said no.
Wow.
They won't even let him on their platform. He can't even be an Uber Eats driver, but he does forsake all of these things and saying, I'm sorry, but I brought you 2 together, and it shouldn't matter if your son likes sausage or doesn't like sausage. And that was about being vegetarian. And nothing to do about big old dicks.
Nothing else.
Fuck, I said it again. So we're good now, and of course, we redeemed ourselves to the press.
Well,
Angie loves us now. We good. Sykes and Lino, they're on the same page, and it's just time to rejoice, right? Because the music starts pumping back in. We're into our final scene now, of course. Where we find out Oscar is now the manager of the whale wash.
Yeah,
And he has
which
a-
I thought that is like, why would you give this man the manager position? Obviously, he can't show up on time. He's done nothing to deserve this, but now he's the manager.
Well, he
Maybe
brought
he's changed his
peace to
ways.
the city because the sharks have agreed to never attack the reef or eat. I guess that would kind of be like saying somebody telling you like, I'm a cannibal, and then you're like, holy shit, wait, what? And then they'd be like, oh no, I'm not gonna eat you though, I just eat other people. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
all the
that's an
sharks
example.
didn't agree to become vegetarians. They just agreed, hey,
Right.
we're not going to fuck with the people in the reef before. But how would you
That's a
have a
good
shark
point.
over for dinner? Because they would want to eat, like, you know, like potentially your wife's best friend, your wife's hot friend, Suzanne.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that. It's like, okay, we'll go eat someone from the other reef then. It's
Yeah,
like, we're
we'll
not gonna stop.
go.
Yeah.
That's Sharktale 2. Like, we'll go terrorize another reef and kind of like rape and pillage, as it were. But I guess we found out since since fish can't really have like fun sex, there's no real. I guess that's not a problem in that community. But he's the manager of the whale wash either way, and we're and then, you know, we have our big working at the car wash finale. Of course, we're washing whales. Christina Aguilera and Missy Elliott show up briefly.
Shark Slayer.
The Shark
it's
Slayer's
great.
there, of course, and everything's right in the world.
Roll the credits.
Before we roll the credits.
Wow. And that was our critical review of Sharktale. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5, or 5 clams out of 5 clams.
Yes, I think this is definitely 5 starfish out of 5. Starfish.
Nice.
Cam, a little disappointed. I thought we could have gone for another maybe 25 or so minutes and maybe wrapped up the total length of of the movie.
Yeah, it is only 90 minutes, the movie. You know, we're here at 56 or 66. So, yeah, if you can watch it as well, or just, you know, fill in the details yourself.
Well, I think what we've given is, you know, the fact that you don't have to watch it because we've so succinctly sort of just wrapped it up. For those of you wondering any other details about the movie was made on a budget of $75 million. The production actually began a year and a half before that shitty Finding Nemo movie, until it actually came out. It was the 9th highest grossing movie of the year. Right in front of Ocean's 12, it grossed $374 million.
Who would have
$374.5
found
million.
Ocean's 12 had nothing to do with the ocean?
Weird, eh? It's almost like the entire movie. You know, I was expecting 12 oceans. I thought there were only 4. Next thing you know, there's 12. For reference, though, the highest grossing movie of the year was Shrek 2, that pulled in $928.7 million. Number 2 was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with $795 million, and Spider-Man 2 was the third highest grossing movie. So Sharktale.
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Yeah, Sharktale was second highest grossing animated film of the year, of course. The highest grossing movie came out 1 week later, and that was The Incredibles.
I like The Incredibles.
So they snuck in there right before.
Is that Pixar or Disney?
Incredibles, that's Disney Pixar, yeah.
Disney Pixar. And then what
Yeah,
was
I
this
think
one?
DreamWorks?
DreamWorks. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Remember the boy with
Yeah,
the fishing pole he throws in the thing?
Got it. Yeah, I'm not so good with that kind of stuff. Well, Cam, great episode. That was a fun little review.
That was a fun. We haven't done this in a long time. It was a lot of fun. We got to do it again. Not our regular scheduled show. However, I think but I think we will have a regular scheduled show next week because Cam, we do have a lot to catch up on, especially a lot of the SEAL Team 6 stuff. We're really gonna have to get into that.
Well, yeah, I've read 2 books on it now, so
Oh wow,
pretty well informed.
You had 2 books on one event. That took like
multiple events, but just SEAL Team 6 shit.
And the other cool things they do around the world.
That's right. Mostly killing terrorists.
Amen, brother. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Two Seasons Pod. Thanks for listening, folks. Remember, you can rate, review, like, and subscribe because the podcast is everywhere. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher Premium. That's how I listen to the show. Shout out to Stitcher Premium for updating their shitty app. Much nicer to use now.
Never forget, people, the Katie Current was voiced by an for Australian audiences, they didn't use Katie Current, they used Tracy Grimshaw, a famous Australian Channel 9 news anchor instead. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Bye, folks.
Continuing tonight on Two Seas in a Pod. 96.7 on your.
Two C's in a pod, 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 two C's just like two C's in a pod, because we're two C's in a pod, just like two C's in a pod, two C's in a pod at gmail.com.